Welcome, everybody, and very glad that you could join us today. My name is Paula Newcomb, and I'm the Northeast Regional Coordinator of the Indiana State Library's Professional Development Office. I will be the host and question moderator for today's webinar, Canva Demo and Q&A, Ask Questions, Get Answers from an Amateur Designer and Professional Librarian. This is presented by Cole Zaroslik, sorry about that, Collaborative Consultant, Winding Rivers Library System in Wisconsin. After the webinar has been transcribed, it will be available on the Indiana State Library's Archive Webinars page. If you are watching an archived recording of this presentation, information on how to obtain your TLEU is in the video's description in YouTube. For weekly updates on upcoming trainings and to learn more about what's happening in libraries across the state, please subscribe to the Indiana State Library's e-newsletter, The Wednesday Word, and check our continuing education website for other professional development opportunities. So let's get started. I'm now happy to turn the presentation over to Cole.
Hey, good morning, everybody. So thank you for your introduction, Paula. So Paula and I talked yesterday. If you have questions during the presentation, please don't be shy, ask your questions right away. Otherwise, we'll save like new big questions for the end. And I'm gonna get started. Thank you to everybody who presented. What did I do? Or thank you to everybody who provided a, what am I doing here? There we go. Thank you to everybody who provided questions for today's webinar. And I'm going to go back to my first slide here. Yeah, I think the first thing I wanted to say is it's impossible to teach technology to a huge group of people. I hope that all of you as librarians understand that. So I'm going off of a lot of your questions, but I think working one-on-one with any kind of technology user and like really working with their questions is kind of the way to go. So yeah, you can't, as a technology mentor, you can't be everything to everybody. So I think when you're thinking about doing your technology programs for the public, yeah, think about how you can answer those one-on-one questions. And everyone's going to be at a different level, especially even today. I had people who are really interested in learning the very essentials. And then I have people who have really nice, complicated questions, which I love to answer. Okay, we're going to get started. Some of the first questions that I had were just from people who are looking to generally get started with Canva. Who are new users, and we're gonna go through some of that a little bit first, and then I'm gonna get to some more questions. One thing I wanted to tell everybody about, and maybe Paula, you could put the link to my Wakelet in the chat. I do have a Wakelet, sort of with some commonly asked questions and with some kind of fun activities. So Canva has a lot of really cool tools, but there are also some sort of good companion tools. Like I really love, let's see, where is it here? I really love, for accessibility, we've got a link to the contrast checker. So you can see if the designs you're making are easy to see, easy to read. Like, are you using maybe are you using a blue background with yellow font? Maybe that's not easy to read for some of your patrons. And I also really like, depending on what your browser is, I like a color checker. So if I wanted to make, if I wanted to make something in Canva that matched maybe my website, and I don't have access to the back end of my website, I can click on Colorzilla for Chrome, and I can choose that color picker. So it'll pick any color from my website, and I can use that color code and put it into Canva. So check out my Wakelet. That's my little pitch right there, and we'll come back to that. So I'm gonna get started right here. So one way to open up a new window in Canva, so this is sort of my thing, is like, I like to have a million windows open all at once. Maybe you don't. But if I right click on that home page and I open that link in a new tab, here I am on my Canva homepage. One question I had from someone was about measuring shapes and design elements in Canva. And so they were asking, how do I know, like, if I need to make a 8-inch square on my Canva document, how can I do that? And the best answer I have for you is you need to make sure that the document you create is either in inches or pixels, whatever it is you are needing to measure. So if I hover over something like flyer, it's 8.5 by 11 inches. If I hover over something like this Instagram post size template, this is in pixels. So pay attention to that. And then, so if I open up flyer here and I go to elements and I choose my square, if I drag this out, and hopefully everybody can see this, you'll be able to see, so as I'm dragging this, you can see the numbers that show up here. So here's my proof. So this is an 8.5 by 11 inch piece of paper, or my canvas here. As I drag this out, I've got an 8.5 inch wide rectangle, whatever that shape is called. So here's how you know this. And if I open a document that is in pixels, it's going to do the same thing. So my shape will be measured in pixels. All right. So starting with Canva, starting with your document. So we could start from the very beginning, but I think we decided we're going to do a poster here, or a flyer. So we've got an 8.5 inch flyer. It's a print flyer. This part of your screen, the middle part here, is called your canvas. So if we were using something like an Adobe product like Photoshop or InDesign, this is your canvas, this is your workspace. Here are all of your tools. If you have a, I'm talking right now from, I have a professional or a premium account, which I get a lot of questions from people who are looking for how do you get a free premium Canva account? I do have some tips in my Wakelet, but I think any library, if you are doing social good, you should be able to request a free Canva account. And so it's taken a little while, and it's taken me a little while to get a free Canva account, but I think it should be accessible. And I don't know, it could be completely different in Indiana or wherever you are working from, but take a look at that link I have there. I have messaged the Canva folks a bunch of different times, and I eventually have had luck, and a lot of my libraries have had luck too. Okay, so one other tool that I think is kind of great for amateur designers, if you go under the file, and this is still, I'm talking about in your premium, in your advanced account. If you have a free account, you might not have some of these tools, but you have the option here. You can show margins. So here, this is a great tool for a new designer. What you want to do is you want to make sure you're designing inside of this margin. So you can give plenty of breathing room, plenty of white space to the viewers of your project. I also really like to show rulers and margins, so you can kind of see how far down is this, how is it, how are we centering this, etc. And I really like to use these guides. So don't be afraid to use the purple guides that pop up when you start moving your shapes around. Let's see. What else was I going to show you? Some other cool things that I really like about using a premium Canva account. I like the fact that you have access to all of these great elements. So all of these are free. In Canva, you have the ability to, there's like a lot of really good resources. And here's one that I think is really cool. At the bottom, you have, let's see, you have this question area. Let's see what happens if I put this flower here. I have this question area. There is an area here. Oh. So maybe it's not in there. Anyway, it does explain copyright issues. So with Canva, as long as you are using a premium account, you shouldn't have to cite your source for your images unless you want to. If you click in that question area and you type in your question, like citing or giving credit to the images, it'll give you a little more explanation. A lot of questions that I have, if I use this help button at the bottom, it's really great. Anyway, one other thing I really like about my premium account is if I go into, I think if I start at home, is my brand kit. So I work for Winding Rivers Library System, if you can't tell right here. Another question somebody asked me was about uploading your own fonts to Canva. And so because I have a premium account, I can go into the brand kit and I've uploaded fonts that go with my logo. And then I also have these brand colors. So when I am designing, so let's say I'm designing this gorgeous star element, and I want to choose, maybe that one doesn't allow me to change the color. Let's see if I can get one. What is something that lets me change a color? So, okay. So say I want to change the color of this gorgeous square. I have my brand colors right here to choose from. So what you're going to do when you're looking for brand fonts and you want to upload those, you're going to upload a TTF file. And a lot of fonts you can get for free. So you can Google up free fonts, make sure you're using a trusted website, or you can look for Google Fonts and you can upload those and then add them to your brand kit. I really like this. I also really like this content planner. I don't personally use it, but it's kind of a cool way to organize your posts if you're planning to if you want to keep track of different events that are coming up. So Facebook also has something like this where you could put in like what are different, like, you have Banned Books Week coming up, or you have your whatever event. You can throw these posts in here and they can go and you can have those send immediate or right to your Facebook account or your Instagram account or whatever. So this is something that you might want to check out. This might be really helpful to you. I also really like with my premium account, and I think you can do this with a free account too, is that I can keep some of my projects in these folders. And I don't do this with all of my projects, but I like to put like, I have, for example, like I have all of these job seeker toolkit elements in one folder. I have, let's see, I have a little bit of, or here's winter reading program templates that I have in here together. And that was another question I got from somebody, was about templates. So let me show you what we can do with templates.
And before we go on to that, I think we had some questions, but they actually might be answering them in the chat. And I think you already showed one of these. Someone wanted to know how to snap things to a grid to make it easier to align, but I guess you did kind of show that already with that. And are you able to adjust the margins? And then someone else said, yes, in the file on the top left, you can show margins, then drag them.
Yes, okay. Show, yep, and then drag these, you mean? To make those wider, probably, I think. Well, thank you for answering that question. I love that. That's wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah, please do answer questions. Also, one of the best ways to learn how to be a designer or how to use Canva or any sort of any kind of technology is to play around. Honestly, I'm not an expert. I just have had a lot of time to use Canva. And honestly, I've had a lot of time using mainly free products for design. I know when I started I've never really had a paid subscription or a paid, I've never had paid tools for graphic design. So I've done stuff in Publisher. I've done just stuff in Word. I remember using a comic book creating program to make posters. I really do love Affinity Designer and Photo if you're looking for a free or like a very inexpensive one-time fee alternative to the Adobe suite. I love Affinity. It's on sale right now. I'm not here to sell anything, but it's a very good alternative. Basically, yeah, my whole career, I've used free and low cost design tools. And this is one of my favorites, especially because of all of the elements you can use. Also, if you can't find the element that you want, you have access to the uploads area right here. So I just made I made a little element to put into my newsletter, sort of promoting the ALA conference, but I wanted it to say, or I wanted to show basically, I wanted it to show that Channing Tatum was going to be there and Tiffany Haddish. So I did a little screen capture using my little snip tool that I have on my computer. And so I put a couple different screen caps and I put some text in there, and then I sent it right over to my newsletter. And one way you can do that is if I click share and I go down here, let's see, I can send it right to MailChimp right here. So so a lot of people have, or I've had questions before about how do MailChimp and Canva integrate? And basically what all this does is it will send a JPEG or a PNG of your image that you design in Canva to MailChimp. So when you're sending an image into MailChimp, if you're a user of MailChimp, it's not, those images are not like reader friendly, so they're not accessible. Any image that you make and you post on the internet, you're going to need to put your text somewhere, like put it under the image, or put some sort of an image tag on that image, because you want to make sure that anybody, whether they're using a screen reader or whether they need something with larger print, they can have access to the text that you are adding to your image. Okay, so where am I at right now? Okay, I'm going to go back to my home area here. And let's see, I'm going to show you, let's go with this little read on the road image that I made here. I'm going to show you a couple more fun things that I like to do. So one thing that I think is really fun about Canva is I can click on this little duplicate page and I can make a million different versions of the same image. So say you are designing for a committee. This is like the worst thing in the whole world. Sorry, everybody. But you have people who, like, everybody wants a little bit of something different. So you can make multiple designs, you can show them what you've made, and they can choose. So this is one way that I really like to do this. So basically, I'll make a copy of my first design, I'll make small changes, and you have a whole bunch to choose from. Another thing I think is cool. So I'm going to click on page 2 here. If I go into styles, oh, is that it? Styles, yes. Okay. This looks different than it was before, and that's okay. So I can click on something like combinations here. So we'll get some different color combinations. this is kind of fun. So like if you're not really sure what you want your colors to look like, this is especially great for people who feel really uncomfortable choosing all of your colors, like, oh man, this seems like too much. So I'm gonna, let's see, the one I really like, oh, okay, let's see all the color palettes. So the one, this looks ever so slightly different than I did last week, but I like to actually just choose color palettes mostly, so I can see what the colors look like. I don't typically change the fonts because I usually sort of like what I have going on. I also, okay, the other thing that I did on this image is I wanted to have this little space here for audiobooks, so I changed the color of the font to yellow so you couldn't see it because I wanted to make this blue text ever so slightly bigger. So I just made a new text box and I just dragged that up there. So it's stuck in there. It's like a weird little design shortcut maybe. So I'm keeping that spacing how I want it. Let's see. Somebody had a question about, what was it? I had a thought and now I'm trying to think what it was. Well, I'll show you this that I think is really great. So when I'm ready to put my logo onto my design, I keep all of my logos in my brand kit and this is ready to go. That's really nice. In my text area, I have my brand text or my brand fonts right here. Plus I also have all of these different font combinations like the templates. And let me show you, what do I want to do? So let's say I want to share this image right here as a template, or I want to create a template. So like maybe I have, this is a template that I want to use, or I want my staff to use, or I want to use, maybe I want this image to be, we'll use this for summer reading program for the next 5 years, but I want to keep this. So I'm going to show you under share up here. I can either share this as a template link. I'm going to copy this and let's see, can I just put this? Can I put this into, so let's say I want to share, I'm going to share this as a template. So maybe everybody else here wants to use this Libby image as a template. You could change the change this logo, you can change the car, you can do whatever you want. Or there's also an option here to I think I can share it as a template and I can put it into my projects and I can put it into team templates or whatever templates I want. I'm publishing the templates into one of my folders. So here it is. That was a question somebody had. So now we have a couple different templates that are part of our brand in my team area here. And I honestly haven't had a lot of luck figuring out how the team stuff works. So if anybody has any good insights on that, please let me know. Because I know for a while you could add team members, but then that sort of added them to your credit card account and I wasn't really sure. So if anybody has any really good ideas or thoughts on team accounts or accounts for multiple users, let me know, put it in the comments. Okay, so there is a template. The other question that somebody had was about using templates and making them look good. That's a big one. I like that question. So let's create a new design and let's try an Instagram post. So I love all of these. These are all real fun, like these templates here. We got Father's Day. We've got, I like this one. I could totally use this one. I could totally see using this as a, I could totally see using this as like a Creative Bug promo post. So that's my system is subscribed to Creative Bug, which is like the arts and crafts video database. So I'm gonna write in here. I hate this font. And these are all separate elements. So I'm gonna go, I think in here, in my uploads, I think I probably have, I'm sure I have a Creative Bug logo. How long do you want to wait for me to find a logo? Oh, hey, look, here it is. So let's say I started with this, this template and I put Creative Bug down here. I'm using some of these guides, so I have it inside of the purple guides at the bottom. I like how that looks, but you kind of can't see, you can't really see the that Creative Bug logo because of these elements. So what I kind of like, you know, depending on what you think, you could try moving these out. You know, I think the big thing is you just gotta be fearless. You know, you can make big changes or you can make little changes with the templates that already exist. But I think, you know, think about readability. Ask your coworkers or your friends to take a look, to maybe stand back and take a look. So this, like, for example, I think from my amateur designer mind, this font is not very readable. So maybe we try something different. Maybe you ask for a second opinion. So let's see. This is one thing that I think is kind of fun. So, so I do kind of like that it's so fancy. So I can put in calligraphy and I can find just calligraphy style fonts. What does this look like? Maybe not this one. Maybe not that one either. Still not there. That's a little better. Maybe not perfect, but we can go with it. Actually, you know, I want one that's, let's see. I was going to try to find one where I could have, so this one, it doesn't look like I have an option to bold it or italicize it. So I was going to see if I could find one. Okay, so let's say we love this one. I don't know if I love it, but it is currently bolded. So I can unbold it. I can italicize it. I can make it align to the left. I can make it fill the text area. And I can do that by dragging this text area in and out that way. I can also make it center align, which I kind of like that. I want to make it a little bigger, and maybe I need to make it a little narrower. And I'm going to stick it right in the middle. I want it to use all of those guides too. Let's see. So I kind of like it. It's not perfect. Let's see. I'm going to use also this spacing area. So I'm going to change the line spacing. Maker's gotta make. It's in there. Maybe it's a little too big. I'm going to keep it right in that purple area with the purple watercolor. That's pretty good. Then maybe this is still in the way. So I'm going to make that a little bit smaller. I don't know. It's not perfect. So the other thing, so when I'm playing around with that font, this thing is moving around, you know, this purple guy right here. Maybe I don't like that. Maybe I want it bigger. Maybe I think I do want it bigger. That looks good. Anyway, if I don't want that to be moving around, I can lock that layer. And that's a thing that we do a lot with. So we have in my projects, we have this job seeker toolkit, and because these are shared out as templates to a lot of people, and we really just want this text area to be changed, we do have a lot of these extra layers, they are locked. So that's one thing you can do with the templates that you're sharing. If you're sharing them within your organization, if you're sharing them, you're making them so anybody can change one or two little things. I totally recommend locking some of those layers so that you don't accidentally grab this layer that really needs to be in that specific spot when you really just need to change a font or change one or two little things. I do like that. And that's one other way that I think is that's another really good way to update templates that already exist, is to figure out which layer, figure out how you like your background to look, and then lock and unlock those. So maybe I'll use this Maker's Gotta Make post, and I'm going to change it into I want to change it into a flyer, an 8.5 by 11 inch flyer. So I don't hate the way that looks, but maybe I want to, maybe I'm gonna hit Control-C, I'm gonna copy, and I'm gonna paste. I'm gonna put a little bit, I'm gonna put this over here. I'm gonna position it to the back. So maybe I want to make this into, I'm going to make it into a flyer with more information. So then I want to, maybe I do want to lock this background area, and I want to put in a square element here. I'm going to make it right to those margins. So I'm going to put all of my text in here, but I also want to see the background. So I'm going to make this a little transparent, but not overly transparent and not too solid either. So then I can have a little area where when I put my text in, it's easy to read. And maybe this isn't, maybe I don't want it to be blue. Maybe I want it to be white. Yeah, something like that. Okay. Let's see. Somebody asked here how to create a custom color palette, and I think that's fun. So Canva has got all of those super cool. How do you lock? So, okay, if I want to lock this, I want to just click on the lock, the little lock up here. And that's nice for when I'm moving my text around too. So we basically right here, we have, oh, I'll share this with you. Make a link. I will put this right here in the chat. You can play along. So now I shared this template, and when you want to move this this box around, you can. You just have to unlock it. But because I want everybody's to look the same, it's locked. So okay, so I want to show you this cool tool that Canva has. It's called the color palette generator. So I like this for, like, if you're building a new website, or you're thinking about logos, or you're just even designing a flyer and you just have no good idea what you like, what colors you want, you know. You have a few different options. So you can get a color palette from an image, which is kind of cool. So here are some demo images. How neat is that? Maybe you feel inspired by, like, the outside of your library building, or you feel inspired by, like, the colors inside your children's area. So yeah, that's really cool. I like that. I also really like, these are kind of fun. So say your director really wants to, they want to think about new colors for your logo or for your website. You can send them to this area and be like, do you like any of these? There are 99 different pages of color combinations. I also really like, here is where you can go to create your custom color palette. So I'll start from the beginning. So if you're here on this, I actually do have a link to this on my Wakelet. I think it starts right here with this little donut page here. If I go about halfway down the page, I can create the custom color palette. And it's really cool because it'll show you like complementary color combinations. It will show you the monochromatic, triadic, analogous. So like if you want colors like kind of in the same color family, thanks Paula. Or let's see, so basically what you're gonna do is you choose that first color. How fun is that? So like, you really like a real, like, you like this kind of like brownish, orangish, greenish color. Like how fun is this combination here? It does also talk a little bit about color theory and combination. So like, if you want to learn a little bit, this could be also a really fun, like teen program talking about color combinations, picking color combinations. Like you could have teens do their own personal logo or whatever. They could figure out if they're a warm or a cool color, and you could do some sort of a BuzzFeed quiz kind of thing. And then you can use those colors that you chose to create a graphic. So here's some graphics kind of in those colors that we chose there. I don't know, I love all these. There's so many different templates that you can use. And I'll show you if you want even more templates. I really like under education. I know that we're librarians, you probably don't have an education account. I do love if you go under education and you go into teachers in schools, there are so many more templates for educators. These might not be totally perfect for you, but I think they're pretty close. So if I go, I think it's in templates. Yep. Am I wrong? Oh gosh. Everything is different every time I go onto Canva. I'm sure you love watching me play around. Teachers at schools. There are so many great templates. Okay, here we go. Ready to use templates. So these are templates for education. So these might give you an even better idea of the things that you can do with Canva. So like there are like bookmark kind of templates, but then there are also some of the things that I really like are some of these, they have some really cool collaboration templates. So, oh shoot. Maybe I just need to do. Let's see. Anyway, so what you could basically do is you can, so there are some templates somewhere, which I have no idea where they are. I know I've started some before. So this could be good if you're doing like remote team programming possibly, or maybe like an internal sort of activity, but nobody, like you're not meeting at the same time. There are some cool templates for like doing some basically like discussion activity kind of things. Let's see, I have them. I know I'm getting closer, or maybe I'm not. Anyway, oh, here. Oh, okay, so it's under group work. All right. Group work templates. Here we go. Okay, this is one of my favorite teacher templates that I just couldn't remember the name for. Okay, so basically with these templates, so you could have, they have, let's see, maybe this isn't the right one, but you could have kids or whoever add their own rules here and then add their own name here. This isn't the best example. Maybe I like this here. Here's a group brainstorm template. And just let you know, I have not used this template before, but basically what I can do is I can share this. Let's see. Anyone with the link can edit. I'm going to copy the link. I'm going to put it in the chat. And maybe if you want to, you can throw your own brainstorm idea in here. So I could copy that yellow Post-it note and I could put it right here, and somebody else could put their own idea here or whatever. So like this could be a really fun way to do a brainstorm. You can do a collaborative art project. You can do whatever you want. Look at all the templates when you get a chance, because it's just like, I think they're really fun and they're totally built for collaboration, and they're kind of wacky. Like you would have kiddos put their own pictures in here. So and then they always have these empty templates, and oh yeah, and sometimes they even have these sort of blank or like basically stickers that you can put into the collaborative window, whatever. Let's see. Somebody had a question about importing your own picture so you can, and changing the dimension of the photo. So let's see if we can do that. So let's say I uploaded a photo of myself. I think I did at one point. Let's see if here's a picture of me. And I wanted to change the size of this. Sorry, everybody. I'm going to put this, actually, I'm going to add a page down here. It's a blank one. Put this picture of me down here. So to crop this image, you have the option to drag these little pull bars here. So when you use those pull bars, you're using those to crop. Or if I use the corners, I'm using those to make them bigger and smaller. Another cool thing you can do to crop or to change the size of an image is you can use in Elements. If you just look up, I think it's called a frame. So any of these with like the little cloud, these are a frame that you can use to put your image into. I'm going to undo that, Control Z. Let's see, what else do we have here? So this one's got 2 clouds, so that means it's for 2 photos. We also have, like, this is kind of cool. Like if you were going to say like, maybe you make a little design and you say, hey, look up our system, look at our library on, find our app on the App Store or whatever, or something like that. Or something like putting, ooh, that was kind of cool. Here, this is creepy. I love it. It's like, I'm always watching. Here I am. Okay, so let's see. Oh, and so changing the size of a flyer. So I sort of talked about that a little bit with Maker's Gotta Make and this flyer. So that I just use Magic Resize for that. But the other thing is maybe you don't have a premium account and you need to just, maybe what you need to do is you just need to copy everything from this document. I'm going to do a Control C, and I'm going to go to this collaborative, not this collaborative. My gosh, too many tabs. It's not even. I'm going to delete this gorgeous photo, and I'm just going to Control V those elements here. So this is going to be a little bit more work when you're just sort of, when you've got to sort of reconfigure how everything looks. But if you don't have a paid account, you still have this option to just take what you copy and paste from a different document. And then maybe I'm going to change my background to white. This doesn't look, this isn't perfect, but you know, you kind of get the general idea. I do like the circle frames, and there's like a ton of them. So play around with all of these frames. And basically, if you just put the word frame into the elements, you've got letters. So like you could use book covers. That would be really cool. Make a word. You could do congratulations to the class of 2022, and you could put in some sort of a school something. Look at that, that's kind of cool. Okay. Let's see. Let's see, I had a question about offering Canva to patrons. So because Canva is free, you don't have to have a premium account. It is a really fun thing to do with patrons, especially kids, especially like your scrapbook people. I think, you know, because everyone's at a different place in their technology journey, I think it's nice to do one-on-one, but maybe you want to get everybody just started with Canva. Oh, how to access the handout. Maybe they're just starting, and so you could just kind of introduce them to the canvas. So that's the middle part here, the canvas, and then to templates or elements. I would say if you're going to teach this to the public, start small, make it easy, and then people can always sort of expand from there. Also, Canva has all of these really great design school tutorials that I think are really fun. I mean, they're really easy too, but basically there are instructions and it's just a regular canvas, how to position elements. So basically move the leaf to the center of the orange square. Here we go. So realign the word summer to essentials. So I think I need to bring those back because I think this is an original template, possibly, I'm not sure. But anyway, there are lots of quick little design things like that that you can do with patrons too. Let's see. Oh, I have a question. I had a question also about bookmarks. I do have a little, I think I made a little video. Oh, boo -boo. Might be in here, might not be. I might have made that up. Okay, I'm going to tell you how I make a bookmark. I'm going to do another 3 minutes and then I'm going to let people ask more questions if they want to. So I'm going to start from the beginning here. So the weird thing about bookmarks here in Canva is they are one at a time. And everybody knows that librarians do not print one bookmark. Like, that doesn't even make any sense. So what I'm going to do to make a page of bookmarks in Canva is this is the shortcut that I have. So I'm going to, I think this is 2 pages of bookmarks. I'm going to delete that one. So I'm going to download these as a JPEG. I have a feeling you're maybe not going to be able to see this. I'm going to open my JPEG. Paula, can you see these Can you see this right now that I opened?
What I see is it says JPEG cute unicorn bookmark. There's a little box on top of the.
Yeah, okay, so you can see that. That's good. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but I'm going to open a new Word document. Can you see this Word document?
Not yet.
Okay. I wonder if I need to. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to reshare here real quick. Oh. Okay, can you see that Word document now?
Yes.
Okay, so so this is like a weird shortcut that I have, but basically I'm gonna take that unicorn bookmark, I'm gonna save it as a JPEG, I'm gonna copy the JPEG, and then I'm gonna do a Word document. I'm gonna change the Word document to a horizontal layout. I'm going to change the margins to narrow. And so because I've copied that bookmark, now I can do Control V, paste, do a couple spaces, Control V, couple spaces, Control V. You know, like, I don't know that this is the best way to do this, but you can, I think, you know, you can get a bunch of bookmarks this way. The other thing you can do, and I have done this, this might actually even be better, is you can do, I want to do, let's say I want to do just like, I can do 4 columns. So I'm going to paste in that bookmark. I'm going to return, hit enter until I get to the next column. So there's my bookmark hack. So, okay. Let's see, is there any other, oh, I don't want to save this, for crying out loud. Okay. Oh, one other question I see I have here is adding a hyperlink. So let's say that I was making, I say I wanted to make this into a PDF that I could put onto my website, and it would like have instructions for getting started with Creative Bug. I could technically change this into a hyperlink, so it would take you right to the Creative Bug page. So I could add a link here on the top right corner. So I would add my whatever, creativebug.org/windingrivers something something. And then I just need to make sure that I'm sharing that as when I download it, I need to save it as a PDF, and it can be standard or print, but the only way I can get those hyperlinks to work is it has to be a PDF. All right, so it's 9:51. What questions do people have?
There are some, let me go back up. It was like around 10:14, but we've got a lot of them. Why does Canva have trouble keeping things clear as in not fuzzy?
Okay, so I'm guessing maybe you're talking about, I wonder if it's the format that you're saving things in, possibly. Maybe are you talking about like when you're posting an image on Facebook? That's possible. Sometimes Facebook will make things that have too much text look a little weird. And then also, what I would also recommend is if you are making images for Facebook, I think if you Google up Facebook like image sizes, something like that, post size, something like this, it will give you some ideas for what sizes you need to make your documents. And you might just need to put a little less text on the document too. I see there's a question from someone about how to print a document. So let's say I wanted to, this is my flyer and I wanted to print it. So it does say print flyers right here, but this is like the paid service. What I want to do is I want to share it and I want to download it. Because I'm going to print it, we'll probably do, print is probably like a PDF is probably best for printing. A JPEG or a PNG is probably best for posting on the internet. Video, GIF, these are like if you're going to have something moving. SVG is good. You can use that for like if you're using like any kind of a cutting machine, or you need something that can be any size, like it can be like billboard size or tiny size, and SVG is your best bet. But if I want to do something for printing, I'll save it as a PDF print. I'll download it. And then once that download is ready, I'm going to open it up for printing. So here's your regular print style. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's see, what else do we have?
Is there a way to prevent pictures becoming pixelated if you need the image larger than the original size?
Okay, so if your images are becoming pixelated, it's because they are too small. So one thing that you can think about, like one thing you can do is if you can resend yourself the picture, like maybe if you took it with your phone, maybe you can send it again in a bigger size. I get this a lot, like sometimes like you'll have like a logo or something and it just looks pixelated, it looks terrible. Sometimes you just have to go and find that logo again. So let's say like maybe my Creative Bug logo is really pixelated because I'm using it bigger, you might just have to go and look for a bigger size image. And maybe you want it to be a logo with a transparent background. Oops, spelled that wrong. It's okay. So that's another way to do that. Otherwise, yeah, I think otherwise you could try just maybe you need to try making your image. It's gonna maybe making it smaller and seeing if you can fit other elements in there. So like potentially you could, so let's say I wanted to like let's say my image is really pixelated. If I make it that big, but maybe I could make it this big and then it could just be like a thumbnail instead of the background, sort of, if that makes sense. Yeah. Also, if anybody has other questions, you can totally email me and I will send you an answer, and I will also add it to my Wakelet so everybody can have the answer. Yes, and I like Chelsea said, you can go when you're going into your, when you're doing your Google search for creative bug logo, transparent background, you can go into tools and you can go, oh, for crying out loud. Oh, I want to go images, images, and I can go into tools and I can choose large size. So I can find larger size images for my creation. What else?
Well, I think at this point we probably need to wrap up, but thank you so much, Cole, for all of this great information. I know I learned a lot and I'm sure everybody else did. But just as a reminder, if you are watching an archived version of this recording, information on how to obtain your TLEU is in YouTube's description, and you can find out information on how to get that.